Shalom Akim, Brakta Yahweh, Brakta Yahushai, Brakta Yahweh, Brakta Yahushai, Brakta Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Kakadash, top honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of the group and Stone Rule Well. This bit of Nash DC Camp, a short lesson to edify the hope for elect. Alright, we're in the last days, we're in the last days of Esau's rulership, right? We're in the last days of our captivity, right? So you know how the prophecy goes down. You know, all these commotions has to take place, and that's exactly what we're seeing. All right. So even Gad is not, it's not, giving any ground in the South Dakota, all right, to the so-called governor over there, because they don't want to get infected with all this, scamdemic and plandemic and so-called propaganda. That's why they're taking extra precaution on their tribal lands to go the distance and make sure that they protect their people. So that's how the Lord is getting down, man. It's going to start turning up the heat to make sure that the prophecies take place. All right, so it's a beautiful thing to see these things take place, and we're almost out of here, and so you just got to witness certain things happening. So here we got a situation in Victoria, Australia. All right, these people want they want their so-called liberties back. All right, so they're gonna protest, just like the Easters protesting around here. You know, we don't really see Jakes protesting as by these lockdowns. Mostly Edomites, man. All right, they go around there with their trucks. They line up for miles and honk and block traffic. Carry their weapons, go with their children, wave the flags, whatever flags they got. All right, dressed up in all types of gear and clothing. They camp out there. You know, see them with their cameras and megaphones going to the state houses. But you don't. I mean, when was the last time you saw Jake going to mass numbers to so-called capital state buildings to protest? You know, so that's Edomite thing. That's why the Cubs had to, fall back. But it's not gonna be like that for too long, man. All right, it's gonna get violent, and that's how the Lord has already set it up to be. It's gonna get so violent out here in Babylon. All right, so I'm gonna play the video real quick. A lot of people are waking up. All right, got some Israelites among them. They look like Edomites, so don't be surprised, man, when you hear these people speak.
Is in hospital and 10 people have been after hundreds.
Let me rewind one more time.
A police officer is in hospital and 10 people have been arrested after hundreds disobeyed stay-at-home restrictions to rally on the steps of state parliament. The demonstrators say they're fighting for their freedom, protesting social distancing laws and the rollout of 5G. Lana Murphy was there.
In the midst of a lockdown, tensions rise. A rebellion in the heart of the city.
What's the charges?
As a woman is led into a police van, an enraged supporter lashes out, punching an officer before being dragged to the ground.
Yeah, so very soon it's not going to be punching officers. It's going to be stabbing officers, attacking officers, pepper spraying officers. So that's how, violence is going to get, mortal is going to get mortal out there, man. All right. So I'm going to get a precept from book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9. All right. Book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9. I'm going to read from verse 1 to verse 4. It says, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made." And how's the Lord visiting the world? He's seeing more evidence, he's seeing more sightings of his chariots in the heavens. Brothers have testimonies of, of angels and all that. Activity up there in space. You have the recordings and all that, so it's beautiful. The Lord Bashem is on his way back to bring justice to the earth. All right. And then it says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, all right. So you already have an environmental disaster upon the face of the earth. You hear about earthquakes, you hear about floods, all right. You hear about natural disasters here and there, all right. So it's definitely a sign of the times, all right, that the Lord's about to bring judgment upon the face of the earth. And when it says uproars of the people, this is the perfect time for the people to be protesting. You know, it's a lot of online activity, all right? People are talking more about the betrayal by the government, all right? By so-called elected leaders and all that. You want to hear the mayor of Chicago talking about New World Order and their, and their allegiance. That you know, people have to swear onto it, and you also have to understand that all these so-called governors and mayors and senators and congressmen, they're all on the books, man. They're all on the payroll for the super elites. The Amalekites, so-called Jewish folks. It's so crazy, man. That Amalek is not really standing up, but they're gonna stand up and fight against their so-called rulers, man. Moab is gonna get along there and get in the mix. All right, Ham is gonna do the same thing too. Ishmael is gonna do the same thing too. Elam's gonna do the same thing too because they're tired of being oppressed. So it's gonna be a confrontation, man. They're gonna go against the cops. Because the couple are not living in all these rich gated communities, man. So they're going to descend upon their homes. And we've already seen evidence of that.
Followers screaming for his release.
Move back! You're being told! Move back!
He was one of 10 demonstrators arrested on the steps of Parliament for breaching social distancing restrictions.
You're under arrest! You're under arrest, I stand back, watch out!
3 protesters will be charged with assaulting a police officer as one member was taken to hospital with a rib injury.
And don't be surprised, you're going to have injured provocateurs in there. So it's going to get crazy, man. You're going to see a lot of destruction of property in this last days. So I'm going to get a quick precept from the book of Proverbs chapter 11, verse 26. It says, he that withholdeth corn, the people shall curse him. And that's exactly what these people are, around the world are doing. They're sending up curses on their government, man. Making it difficult for them to earn a living and to eat. The scripture says if man can't work, he can't really eat. And Esau is basically, being an obstacle. You can imagine a number of curses going up to the Heavenly Father against Bill Gates, against Trump, against all the elites of this world, man. Even against the wicked of our people. The prayers of the people is just going up to the heavens, man. Reaching the ears of the Lord, the angels are reporting, and they're being in distress. So the Lord Hashem is going to let more chaos happen, man. So that way, it's going to sweep away the refuge of oppression, and that's the elites, man. They want power, so the Lord has to, pulverize them. The Lord has to destroy them. All right.
Crowd of about 300 demonstrating against Victoria's partial coronavirus shutdown and the rollout of 5G.
Yep, and that's just one thing these people don't like, man. Deception and oppression, and it's gonna get ugly, man. There's no other way to put it. All right. So Proverbs chapter 11, verse 26 says, "He that withholdeth corn, the people shall curse him." All right, but blessing shall be upon the head of him that selleth it. All right. So that's the time we're living in, man. Those that have enough to share, they're gonna get rewarded. Especially for the man of the Lord, and when you have that famine, it's going to be so messed up, man. So that famine is coming, the famine of bread, the famine of water, and the famine of the word. So it's going to be twofold, man. These people won't be able to handle it. The food rations that the government's going to hand out to them is not going to be enough. and the elites are going to do everything they can to push the people into the corner. Because once you're able to control the food, you have the opportunity to control the people. That's the way these elites think. The food supply is just going down the drain. America wastes so much food, man. So much food goes down to the trash, trash dumpsters. So you just gotta pray, Lord, that Shema Shai continue to guide you and keep you safe in these last days. All right. So let me play this real quick.
They're born with freedoms, and you will not take them off us!
Taking aim at mandatory vaccinations and the COVID-19 app.
They want to force a global microchip of humans!
We are here.
Yeah, she said it. She don't want to take that mark of the beast. The RFID microchip, the mark of the beast. Esau knows about it. Where is Jake, man? Where is Jake? So this is just the beginning of more sorrows, man. The beginning of sorrows, just like the book of Ezra says. All right. So I'm going to read the book of Habakkuk. All right. The precept from the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2. I'm going to read from verse 9 to verse 12. It says, "Woe to him that covets an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high." And that's the elite right there. You hear about the so-called space program. That's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to have authority over the whole earth. They want to dominate the Lord when he returns. They want to dominate Israelites. They want to dominate other nations the Lord have created. All right, so it's going to be terrible for these elites, man. All right. So it says in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 9, "Woe to him that coveted an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil." All right. So Esau knows his end is coming. So he's going to do everything he can to set up his so-called space program to have an edge. But what edge is it going to be, man? One it can be taken down within an instant. Verse 10, "Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people." And that's exactly what we see on the face of the earth. All this so-called scamdemic, it's showing that, people are not pleased with the misinformation the media keep putting out there and disinformation, and has sinned against thy soul. So you see them in deep trouble, man, especially the elites. All right. "For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it." All right. So it says, "Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth a city by iniquity." So Esau's downfall is coming. It's already here. It's going to start with the uproars of the people, and it's going to end with that second death, that blast of fire. All right, that great millstone. That the Lord Shema Shai is going to cast upon the sea. And that will be the end of Esau's rulership. So the woman talks about how she don't want no microchip. She don't want to go along with it. That's what you call integrity. But who knows how long, man, she's going to be able to hold up. But for the man of the Lord, you need to have faith, man, to back it up with your actions when you get tested.
They want to force a global microchip of humans!
We are here to ask questions and have them answered because things don't make sense.
Thanos Paniyides, one of two organisers, arrested.
And that's it. Things don't make sense. Confusion. So it's all beautiful that Lord Shema is letting these things take place, and you're gonna see more prophecies come to pass. All right.
At the lunchtime gathering, which attracted visitors from hundreds of kilometres away.
What virus are they going to spread? There is no virus out there they're going to spread.
I do not want anybody watching and tracking and listening to me breathe. I want transparency from the government. We want to know why 5G towers that haven't had safety studies done properly, industry studies have been going up without the people's consent.
But the chief medical officer says there is nothing.
Yeah, so the lady has a point right there. She has a child in her hand, so you can imagine the anguish she's going through, the sleepless nights. The father going through the same thing, they're not able to go to work. just burning through cash, So just imagine when there's nothing to eat and there's nothing to give to the people, it's gonna get crazy. Cannibalism, who knows if they're gonna eat that child or not? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows what the neighbor is gonna do to that family when they see that child is looking delicious and plumpy, So cannibalism is gonna come back. It's not gonna be a big surprise, when you hear the stories and have the evidence. It's nothing new, all right?
We want to know why 5G towers that haven't had safety studies done properly, industry studies have been going up without.
Yes, that's why the elites are in a rush. They're in a rush. They're pushing hard. That's why they keep enacting executive orders after executive orders. They don't want the First Amendment. They don't want, the Second Amendment. They don't want any of the so-called, so-called civil rights, to be, observed by the people. And that's why the people are pushing back. And the governors and the senators and the presidents, they're in a hard place too. They're already on the payroll. So what are they going to do? So it's beautiful to see these things take place, man. So this second Ezra chapter 15, we're going to read verse 14 all the way to 19. It says, Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. So more hell is coming onto the earth, man. And one people should stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So you're going to have race wars, man. All right, race wars. It's coming, okay? And there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the cause of their actions shall stand in their power. So it's going to get violent. So all those plans to confiscate people's weapons is not going to be fruitful, because the people are going to fight, man. People just go into the woods, get a string, make a bow and arrow, and that's it. That's a silent killer. You can't hear that shit coming, man. You can't hear that stuff coming. People know how to make concoction when it comes to toxic chemicals. You'd be surprised. The poison that people can make from all these so-called household products. Yeah, so it's gonna get crazy, man. Assassinations here and there. So it's gonna be so, dangerous, man, out there, even in the neighborhoods, in people's homes. All right. So it says, For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the cause of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right. So that's all the characteristics of martial law. All right, suspension of the constitution, suspension of the people's rights. All right, then verse 18 says, For because of their pride the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. All right, so don't be surprised when you start hearing explosions going off. People's homes being raided. All right, but all these special response teams of different police units, and national guards here and there. So don't be surprised, man, when you start hearing gunshots. You're driving home, you hear gunshots. You're on live, you hear gunshots. So America is basically going to become one big hood, man. Gunshots, man. All right. Then verse 19 says, A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Yep, so that's what's coming to America. All right. Yeah, America is going to be the center of action when all hell breaks loose upon the face of the earth.
The people's consent.
But the chief medical officer says there is nothing to fear.
It is complete nonsense. 5G has got nothing at all to do with coronavirus.
And then, ask yourself, why the animals, having negative reaction. You look at the bees falling out of the, falling off trees, man. They're just falling down, dying. You know, you have geese just falling down, falling out of the sky, falling out of the air. You got birds just dying here and there. Yeah, so that's how terrible Esau is, man. He's gonna lie, and then if people get hold of him, he's still gonna lie, and then they're gonna execute him. So don't be surprised, man, when you see this guy getting smoked, man, by the people, man. You know, it just might be the mother with that child. He won't be the one to put a dagger in his throat. Yeah, so it's gonna be crazy, man. You know, all these so-called senators and all these government officials, they're gonna go into hiding. All these so-called you know, people that work for MasterCard and American Express and Visa that, you know, wanna digitize the, you know, the economy and get rid of cash. They're gonna be hunted down too because they're part of it. You know, it's one big scheme. So don't be surprised, man, when you see all these CEOs getting, you know, lynched, man. You know, because the Klansman, he's not playing games no more, man. He's oppressed. He's upset that he didn't really get the memo. But now that they're waking up, you know, he's pissed off. So, you know, they're going to bring out all the hardware they got and they're going to take it to the government, all right? It's going to be a clash, all right?
None of this is law. So whatever fine I get is not law.
But the government disagrees. It says every person in attendance here today is in direct violation of social distancing rules and could be fined more than $1,600 each.
Yep, so rob the people, take their money, tax them, throw them in jail, take them before a judge that don't have no balls to stand up for the people. Yeah, so that's how crazy it's going to be in these last days, all right? So I'm going to get one more precept, and that's going to be it. So there's going to be Job chapter 5, verse 13. It says, He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. All right? So whatever they're trying to do is not really going to be accomplished. You know, going to look as if they're about to accomplish that goal, and they're about to get to the finish line, but they're going to lose steam. That's how the Lord gets down, man. You know, people think they're about to make it, and then they just have disappointments.
That is incredibly disappointing that some individuals do not understand that these restrictions have been put in place to keep them safe in the United Kingdom, in so many parts of it.
And that's one thing people don't like, man. People don't like what, you know, to be told what to do, especially when they're making the right decision. You know, the scripture also talks about a wise man. You know, when you rebuke a wise man, you know, he'll be wiser. But when you come with a false narrative, what are you going to get? You know, you're going to get a serious pushback. And that's one thing these people have realized. That the so-called commissioners and ministers are just a bunch of liars. That they're just trying to pacify the people and oppress them at the same time. Yeah, so it's not going to go as planned, you know, all the way to the end. You know, they're going to get defeated. And that's how the Lord is going to set it up. So, Job chapter 5 verse 14 says, They meet with darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in the night. Alright. So the Lord that Shema Shai is going to confound them, man. Whatever they're planning in darkness behind the backs of the people, it's going to be turned upside down. Alright. Then verse 15 says, But he saved the poor from the sword, from their mouths, and from the hand of the mighty. And that's the beautiful thing of the Lord, that the Lord has already set forth. Salvation is coming for his elect.
Europe, you know, those people know that that this pandemic is not fake news.
Lana Murphy, 9 News.
Yep, so they're coming for people, and the people are going to fight hard. So just pray, Lord, that about Shema shall continue to open your eyes to see what's going on. Abaratiza will be delivered very soon. All right, Shalom.